Hi everybody, welcome to Afterburner. I'm Bill Whittle. Well, I had a chance to speak at a very progressive high school last week, and if it was a tremendous experience for me, you can only imagine the kind of thrill it must have been for them. It really was an eye-opener, though, and in a surprisingly good way, for me at least. Now, rather than giving them a 45-minute speech about what I thought about modern conservatism and having them roll their eyes and snort the whole time, I'd agreed with the school that the best plan would be for me to spend 5 or 10 minutes outlining in the broadest strokes the things that I believed in, and then spend almost the entire time answering questions. I had a question on Citizens United. Hey, if unions can give money to political parties, why not corporations? It's either both or neither, right? I got one on gun laws. Hey, felons are prohibited from owning weapons, and a check to ensure that a person buying a gun is not a felon is about the only reasonable restraint that I could justify. I got one on gay marriage. Gay marriage is not in the Constitution. Straight marriage isn't either. Then it's not the federal government's business. And furthermore, the entire idea of a state marriage license came from Democrats trying to legally prevent black people from marrying white people. It's always good to chuck in an unexpected hand grenade and explode some misconceptions every now and then. But most of the talk during the day was about Bernie Sanders and about socialism. Now, it's not entirely fair to accuse them of only wanting wealth redistributed from other people to themselves, because honestly, virtually all of the Bernie supporters do in fact want to do what they perceive to be social good with the money. But when I challenged a kid who appeared to be a Bernie Sanders superdelegate or something about his 97% tax rate and asked him why anyone in the world would want to work their butts off in order to keep 3 cents on the dollar, all he could say was that the 97% tax rate only kicked in on something more than something like $400,000. It was around in there. It utterly eluded him that anyone would need or want to make more than this, and under Bernie Sanders, it would in fact be pretty much impossible to do so. So I asked him, why $400,000? Why not higher or lower? Who decides? Why? How? And why on earth would I ever make a penny over $399,999 a year? They're going to take the rest of it anyway. That's just the federal taxes. Look, here's the issue, kids. I can be okay on $399K per year, but I'm not buying any big consumer goods that pay the wages of the people that make them, and I sure as hell am not going to open a second restaurant or hire new drivers or start a new business of any kind. Why would I? So who gets hurt here? The guy with the $399,999 and stops right there, or the millions of poor and middle-class workers who are suddenly out of jobs that never developed in the first place? You know, for 3 generations now, the left has told us that wealth is theft, that the wealthy have taken more than their fair share. If wealth was a product of study, sweat, brains, and a lifetime of hard work, and it is, then redistributing that wealth would be stealing. But if wealth is stolen, then redistributing it is justice. It's envy. So I told them a story about the power of envy that I've told before here, but I need to tell again because it will show you how this fault line runs through the hearts of everyone, not just socialist millennials, but through you and me as well. Okay, imagine that you work in a huge insurance company. You're just one of 100 cubicles up on the 22nd floor. You've been there for 20 years, and one Friday afternoon, just before 5 o'clock, the CEO appears at your cube and asks to have a word with you. Billy says, "You've been serving this company with hard work, dedication, and distinction for 20 years now. I want you to know that we've noticed it, and that as a small token of our gratitude for this lifetime of honesty and effort on your part, we have decided to present you with this check for $100,000. Taxes have already been paid on it. Thank you for everything you've done. Go have fun, and we'll see you on Monday." So, what's your reaction to a case like that? Obviously, all of a sudden, you have $100,000 that you didn't have or even dream of having 2 minutes before. Of course you're filled with joy. You think of all the things you can suddenly do with that money. You could send the kids to college, you could pay off the mortgage maybe, or take a trip around the world with the family, buy a bunch of jet skis, whatever. It's nothing but net gain, and you are ecstatic about it. So, not wanting to be a jerk or anything, but unable to contain yourself, you announce to everyone in earshot, all of your coworkers, you say, "Guys, you will not believe what just happened. The boss said he was so impressed with my 20 years here that he gave me a check for $100 grand tax-free." And they look at each other, and then they look at you, and they say, "Well, Bill, he came to all of our cubicles and gave all of us checks, but our checks were all for $250,000. And when I said that, they actually groaned. You could hear a sound of pain go through the room. I said, you guys hold on to that thought, because that thought is envy. What does it do to you, I asked, It turns your joy into resentment. What had been nothing but a pure gain of $100,000, pure, unexpected, complete benefit, now turns into a sense of loss and inadequacy. Like that. You no longer imagine what you could do with $100,000. You only think about what you could have done with $250,000. And it does something worse than that. It makes you angry and resentful. Mary gets 250 grand. She's been late every day for 20 years. And Jim's a damn alcoholic. I have to fix virtually every report he sends in. He gets a $250,000 while I'm stuck with a measly 100K. You start to resent people because the money's a gift. It's like a welfare check. It's arbitrary. You got a smaller gift, so you feel like you're worth less. If you'd gotten the 100 grand and Tommy got $250,000, but Tommy was in at 6 a.m. every day. He stayed till 9 at night, and he worked weekends too. He never came out for drinks after work because he was always in there busy. And in 20 years, you never once entered or left that office without Tommy being there before you arrived or staying late after you left. Well then, all of a sudden, him getting $250,000 to your $100,000 wouldn't seem quite so bad or so unfair. It wouldn't seem so bad and it wouldn't hurt so much because he has obviously earned it. That difference between respect and envy is the difference between capitalism and socialism, and I actually do believe that many of those kids left with something to think about. Now, if I could just spend an hour in every high school in America, I think we'd be out of the weeds.